large enough storms, at least at this point, to do that. They'll have heavy rainfall. They might have some gusty winds with them, but that's probably the peak on most of that at this point. I do want to look up here, that one near Corinth, just in case. We're going to look from Memphis as well. Now, it's generally rotating, but it's a relatively small storm still. So look at that. I'm not super concerned. We'll track that whole line east at about 50 miles per hour just to give you some advance heads up. And once this primary line moves through, it's not impossible that something develops behind that, but the primary severe weather threat will be done as well. So Boonville, 504, Baldwin at 509, Iuka, 516, as you'll note there, Tishmingo at about 527, eventually working its way toward Golden and Red Bay and Florence as it moves eastward. For folks, I know we have a lot of viewers, obviously, in Tupelo and Pontotoc County on the northern side of this line. Most indications here do show, I mean, yeah, there's some wide rotation showing up on here. Our tower cam shot showing the rainfall that we're kind of in at this moment. As we swing this a little more south, now the visibility is a little difficult there, but there's clearly nothing I see there that concerns me at this instant. And I don't think that we're going to have to worry about anything on that level. But we'll definitely have to watch this nonetheless, just in case something changes. And so let's do our due diligence, get a storm track on the heaviest part of that from Troy to the Zion area. Okay, and as you can see that there, moving toward Verona at 507. Shannon as we look toward about 512. Nelton 521, Evergreen at 527 there, and Clarksville and Van Buren close to 530. Chickasaw County. I don't know that this has enough. Hopefully it doesn't, but I don't know that this has enough to produce a tornado. It's on the bypass right now is where our rotation is. We want to make sure we're still inside a sturdy structure if we do live here in Chickasaw County. Wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. A couple areas where we do have some relatively impressive winds. It's more broad rotation. And the reason I'm not going to click on either of these pixels there is those occur ahead of where there's any precipitation. So I would get some wild and crazy numbers right there, but you notice there's no actual precipitation there, so it's unlikely that that's producing anything at that point. I do want to go to clear air mode here for just a moment, just to make sure. Okay. So obviously this is on the north side there of Houston. We're watching things very closely for you. So just be smart, just be safe, stay in that reinforced structure as necessary. There's also on the north side there, that's probably at least some 1-inch hail. And I will say this, latest scan here does continue to strengthen this some more. Let's look at the wind mode. See, this is angling just a little bit more, and this is, again, is yet to update. So here in any second we'll get that. Let's see. Hold on, if it will give me that. Okay, yeah, still the rotation there, but this is getting more organized. So we'll have to watch that very closely. New severe thunderstorm warning coming out. Okay, before we go, if you live in Van Vliet, Okolona, ahead of this in Chickasaw County, and we'll watch John's microphone there. We want to be getting to that tornado safe place just in case. Sturdy structure. It is, and John's mic's on, just so you know, back there in the back. Right there. It's getting the fact that that's kind of angling more in. That is starting to show more signs of rotation. There's your hail. That's where your rotation is. It's getting more organized at this point. So we're going to have to, we'll come back this here in just a second. But we need to make sure that we're doing this. We're in that sturdy structure on the lowest floor, just in case there.
You got,
well, I can't leave this one yet. What do we have down south?
Just we got Dean, one of our spotters, looking west from Okolona, looking at that storm that's in moving through the.
Is that a live or is that a pic?
That's just a few moments ago picture. That's a picture.
Okay, so he has better visibility there than I thought you would, looking toward what looks to be a lowering there, possibly a wall cloud. So he's in a good position. He'll be able to give us more information on that here in a minute. But we need to be, if you live on the north side of Houston here, getting that tornado safe place. This is not a tornado warning, but over the last 2 scans, watch what has happened here. See how this is more of an upper right to lower left angle? Go to the next scan. See how it's more of an up and down angle? Go to the next scan. See how now it's more of an upper left to lower right? That switch you see there is the wind on the backside of this, the rain coming out of this, trying to come back around and spin up a rotation here on the north side of Houston, just south of the bypass. This is Highway 32 there. This is going to be working its way toward locations such as Van Vliet as it works its way eastward toward the Natchez Trace Parkway. As a result, if we have some folks on the Natchez Trace Parkway, keep them south of Houston and keep them up, I would say, north of Davis Lake. If you can get a hold of them with self-service the way it is there. Let's look at the wind mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar. The wind mode is not. Let's go up a scan or two on this. I'm just wondering if that Monroe County site is just showing us something, because the rain mode on this is pretty pronounced at this moment. Well, clearly the wind, as you can see, is a lot stronger. It's going back a couple scans to see it back there, because it samples the low levels of the atmosphere more often when we have this kind of weather. And there we are. There's that latest update. So you can see just above the surface, it's substantially stronger. Live. You have the Joel Facebook Live. Okay, we'll get that up in just a moment. So if you live in Houston proper, obviously still plenty of lightning out of this. The rotating part is along County Road 116, moving in the direction of the Natchez Trace Parkway. Our meteorologist Joel Young is on this. I'll see if I can. I'm not going to have quite the video signal that we had a moment ago there. It's probably going to be a couple of minutes. Actually, it's probably going to be at least 10 minutes before we get before we're able to get to her. So. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. So he's watching that part. You can see definitely a lowering there. It's a little obscured by the tree line there as they're coming up on the rainy part of this, on the backside of this storm. But you can clearly see the overall rotation there. I don't see imminent connection to the ground at this moment, luckily. So we're going to keep watching that. John, let me know if anything changes on that shot there the second it changes. I'm going to check the debris mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. And before you look at this and go, well, now hold on, this is in the clear air. The reason it's detecting a bunch of stuff. And Austin, can you hear John's mic? It's coming up a lot back there. Can we pot that down for a minute? There we go. Okay. And if necessary, John could just mute and unmute. I know you're bouncing a lot of things back there, and I appreciate that. But this blue thing is out here where it's detecting bugs as well as dust, as well as strong winds. But clearly that's just barely ahead of where the rotation is, because you look right there, that's where the rotation is. And you can clearly see the mid-level rotation continuing to pick up on this. Let's look right down toward the bottom again. South of Parkersburg, about to cross the Natchez Trace within the next minute. This is as close as any storm has been in the last hour and a half to 2 hours to producing a tornado. So we're watching this very closely for Van Vliet there. Can we get Joel's video back up? And we'll get that back up here in a second. John is refreshing something so we can get that. His firsthand viewpoint of this is important. Okay, John has a different picture that he's going to pop up here. And John, where is this picture from?
Between Calhoun City and Varmon, County Road 418.
Okay, go ahead and unmute, John, if you would.
It's in between Calhoun City and Varmon on County Road 418, from Sarah White. Calhoun City and Varmon.
Okay, between Calhoun City and Varmon, County Road 418 is very near Joel was, and clearly that's a lowering. There's clear-cut rotation on this one here, so no question about that. We'll try to get Joel's video back up here in a second. By the way, right where it's pointing to that is hail. And that is perhaps larger than an inch or more in size at this moment. Let's go ahead and I'm going to take a three-dimensional view on this, if you'll give me a moment to do that, just to see how big that hail is. We don't have big hail around here very often, but we're certainly monitoring. By the way, so this is going to head through Van Vliet as it moves eastward, and here's a viewpoint of what Joel's looking at. I see a rotating wall cloud. I see a wall cloud, excuse me. We'll have to check in and see whether or not he's getting rotation on that in a minute. I'm going to disengage for a second because the National Weather Service in Jackson has issued a tornado warning now for Montgomery and Choctaw County. That is for one of those thunderstorms that we've been monitoring, the one that we said had that extremely strong wind, as well as what looks like extremely heavy precipitation that could possibly be some pretty large hail there near Poplar Creek as well. Let's go to the wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. Pixel-to-pixel wind change near Poplar Creek. Now we are looking a little higher up. That says 51 miles per hour. I would imagine to be just slightly higher than that. Let's look at the tornado debris mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar. Let's see. I'm looking here south and west of Poplar Creek. Let's look at this. So that, we're going to look from Jackson. It's conceivable we could have some tornado debris being detected here on Storm Track Doppler radar. Now, John, this is that moment where I want to see how high up the radar is looking, if we could. So I'm going to go to the debris mode here from, let's go to the wind. Give me a second here while we jockey this back and forth. It's conceivable, not impossible, that we have tornado debris. How high is scan number 1 looking south and west of Poplar Creek?
Scan.
So the lowest scan there, we'll pull that up here in a second if we could.
6.5 thousand feet.
6,500 feet. Okay. So this is a tornado that is causing at least some damage here, potentially south and west of Poplar Creek, there in southern Montgomery County. So let's track that northeastward at 50 miles per hour. So Poplar Creek, obviously, it's basically on top of you right now. Huntsville, Mississippi in 8 minutes. Chester Community in 23 minutes. Fulcher there in 31 minutes, and Sturgis in 36 minutes. This is rotation that could potentially be a tornado. The wording from the National Weather Service confirmed due to, now it looks like they're seeing that report of at least some damage on Storm Track Doppler radar, or not necessarily on Storm Track Doppler radar, but looking at this, they see that possible debris lofted up. So we need to make sure that we address this properly. And the way to do that is to first say what we're looking at. Now, this is rotation. Yes, strong, could develop into a tornado. In fact, we believe it possibly has, might still be. No guarantees it's still on the ground, but we can confirm debris even though this has not been spotted. And we will try to get Stan's video back up once can we figure out where exactly Stan is to make sure we have him on the right spot on this here in a minute.
See, that's about 7,000.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll check that out here in a minute. So we need to make sure that we are in a tornado-safe place if we live in Huntsville, Mississippi. If you live near French Camp, I would be there as well. I know we have some French Camp addresses that are, likely some folks there that are definitely going to be in the pathway of this. Sturdy structure, middle of the lowest floor, wrap up in blankets and pillows, and go to a small windows room and stay there until we can give you the all clear. New tornado warning coming, as you can hear behind the scenes here at the TV station. That does include sections of Lee County. That tornado warning is for the thunderstorm that our meteorologist Joel Young is on. Is this Joel's video that's up here, or is this Stan's?
Let me Joel's.
Okay, we'll get
There's Joel's.
We'll get Joel's up here, and they're going with the tornado warning here. It is Doppler radar indicated tornado warning, as Joel looks like he is moving through Houston now as they're on the backside of this. Definitely rotation on this. This is the storm that the tornado warning for sections of Lee, Itawamba, Monroe, and Chickasaw County has been issued for those locations. So this is a tornado warning in effect until 6 p.m. for those spots. And the part we've been watching right there on the south side as Joel continues to maneuver his way back it around to catch back up with this. We clearly have still a viewpoint of it, thankfully, but at this point I did not see a tornado on the ground at this. We need to get Joel's audio on one of the phones so that we can talk to Joel specifically, and we'll speaker, unspeaker him as necessary. But certainly a new track on this. You can see they've gone with a fairly long warning all the way to the Alabama state line. They're going 50 miles per hour. Okolona 10 minutes, Nettleton 21 minutes, Amory in 27 minutes, Smithville in 35 minutes, and Turon in 40 minutes. Let's address something here real quick because I can hear it in the background. I know it goes like this a lot of spots, and maybe you can hear it over my microphone. Tornado sirens going off in Tupelo and throughout all of Lee, Itawamba counties. I know for a fact that, and this is policy, and it's a good policy because it makes sure that people are alert and aware. But the emergency managers in Lee County, this is going to affect locations south of Nettleton. They set off this alarm for the whole county. So even though it's raining over top of our WTVA 9 News studios here in Tupelo, and we can hear the sirens in the background, we are safe in Tupelo. If you live in Tupelo proper, you are good to go. You are fine. If you live in Verona, you are good to go. You are fine. The warning is for the red box that you see here, and the locations within this are the folks that we are tracking on this. And so this tornado is Doppler radar indicated and continues moving toward the east and northeast with a speed at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So imminently Okolona within 9 minutes, Wren within 18 minutes as we continue to monitor a storm that is possibly going to try to produce a tornado. The wind mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar continuing to organize. Luckily, we cannot prove a tornado touchdown at this point. We have not heard anything of that order from our meteorologist Joel Young, but we'll continue monitoring things. We do have now more reports of a confirmation of tornado touchdown on our Montgomery County storm moving into sections of Choctaw County near the Poplar Creek area. Reports now that of more lofting that could be tornado debris. Let's go to debris mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar. This is fuzzy on a whole bunch of different ways. We will get to her at some point. So she can shoot video for a few minutes. We're going to try to talk to our Aaron Wilson up in Tippah County eventually, but considering we have a tornado we believe to be on the ground at this moment in Montgomery County and Choctaw County, and another one that we have in Chickasaw County that could be trying to take that step, that's why we're continuing this live coverage here at this moment. Let's go to the wind mode, and I'm going to look at a couple of different sites here as we try to make sure we have the exact county road and place we need to be looking at this. That's a pretty impressive return, no matter which way you slice it, more than 87 miles per hour there south of Huntsville, Mississippi. We believe this to be a tornado on the ground at this moment, confirmed by Doppler radar. Not going to get a lot of folks to pop into the track here, so instead, based on that 50 to 55 miles per hour, I place our circulation just south of Huntsville, Mississippi by no more than 2 miles, so if it were to clip Huntsville, it'd be within the next 2 minutes. It'll be crossing Highway 413, right there, north of French Camp, within the next 5 minutes. And it will be moving in a direction that takes it across the Natchez Trace in 7 minutes. Now, a point to say on this, not only is this capable of producing a tornado, which we believe it could be doing at this moment, but it's also possible that this could be damaging wind gusts in excess of 70 miles per hour. Both those things linked up intimately on this as a possibility, and that's our significant concern out of this as it continues to move eastward. Now, whose video do we have up here? And is this Joel?
Yes.
Okay. So our meteorologist Joel Young is in Chickasaw County. He is on the storm that we were talking about a moment ago. Give me just a second here, Joel. I'm going to get a longer track on this storm, confirmed tornado in Montgomery and Choctaw counties, and then we're going to come to you for a moment here. So I do want to get Ackerman in the track of this. I do think it probably stays just a little north of Ackerman, but just in case the strong winds on the south side of it come in. Ackerman, we're at 19 minutes, Chester 15 minutes, Fulcher there, as I mentioned just a moment ago, within about the next 22 minutes. And I want to let's get a slightly wider track. And we'll have your video up when we go to you here in a second, Joel, just so you know that. I'm going to get a track that gets us all the way to Starkville. I know parents want as much time as possible to tell their children to listen and pay attention. And so for Starkville, we're looking at about 44 minutes or so for you. Ackerman 18 minutes, Sturgis in 27 minutes. Make sure the kids know that if they don't have cable, they can't watch us a normal way, and you know this if you lose your signal. The WTVA weather app, one way in which you can stay up to date with this. Okay, so now I'm going to take this down. We're going to go to our meteorologist, Joel Young, who is in Chickasaw County. And Joel, if I'm talking about these other storms and you have one on the ground, you interrupt, okay?
I'm working on trying to figure that out. I've got a lot of trees right now. And but right now I'm probably okay. We're heading east on 8. We're going to try to get north on in just a few minutes. I'll tell you what road I'm going to try to get on. Basically, County Road 402. Going to try to get on that. You're seeing that. I've got my live view back up. If you want to use that, I think I've got a half battery on my GoPro right now, so we should be in order right now.
Okay, we're on your Facebook Live at the moment. As soon as you get that back up.
Facebook Live is ended right now, so I'm on the live view.
Okay, perfect. We will look for that there. We're waiting for them for it to come up on this end here. I'm still getting the color bars for that, but we'll have that up here in a second. If we were to have a tornado on this, now one more time, you're on Highway 8.
I'm on Highway 8 right now. We are going to be, Matt, actually, I need, if you can, I'm on Highway 8. I'm in eastern Chickasaw County. Highway 8 bent a little bit farther south, so it put me out of position a little bit. I'm trying to figure out my current position. I'm trying to get to County Road 402 if I can. I'm not sure if I passed it because
I would get the 45. I would get the 45 alternate and shoot up 45 alternate if I were you.
Yeah, I'm going to try my best to get on 45. We got to go.
Okay, that'll work. Okay,
All right.
good luck. We'll talk to you in a minute. Bye.
Yep, thanks. I'll talk to you in a bit. Get me through live view.
Okay, thank you. We're going to get him through the other live service. That's our meteorologist, Joel Young, tracking this storm, our rotation. As you can see, approaching the Okolona area now. We do not have confirmation of this being a tornado at this instant, but unfortunately, confirmation happens after the fact, or I guess, fortunately, it does, and we can't confirm it, but we're certainly watching it. Now, here is one of many weather pictures that we've been getting in, a viewpoint of this. Our Alan Matthew retweeting this one, sending this one. This is Traceview Estates in Houston. Tiffany Hendricks sending in this shot here of the lowering, certainly very close to the ground here. Some folks would say this is a tornado. This is not. This is instead a rotation that's definitely trying to ramp up. So for the folks out there like, ooh, I want to see it, that's what you're going to see. Okay, you saw it. Now let's be in our safe place on the lowest floor of that sturdy structure. Let's minimize that. And let's go ahead and reset for a moment here. Meteorologist Matt Lopon, current time is 5:20 p.m. alongside our meteorologists Alan Matthew and John DeLusick. If your television signal goes out, which it often does when heavy rainfall comes overhead, in some cases, the WTVA weather app where you continue to watch us on our live stream. We are on Facebook Live as well, so if you have reports, we are monitoring that to get those in. That's one opportunity. But here's what we're trying to tell you. You need to be in that safe place. You need to stay in that safe place if you're in either of these tornado warnings, and we have two at this instant. One that is a confirmed tornado, one that is trying to develop at this moment. The confirmed tornado just north of French Camp, just east of Huntsville, Mississippi, moving in the direction of Chester. Ackerman behind me here, where you can barely probably see it. Byway more in the path of this as it moves toward the east and northeast and approaches the Natchez Trace Parkway. Looking at the debris mode here, we're going to look at wind first. Now we're going to look at debris. These have been some odd debris returns. So it's sometimes difficult for us to pick it out when we're right at the edge like this. I don't feel necessarily certain that I have a debris signature there just because of the way this is lining up. But we have at least at some point within the last 10 minutes had tornado debris obvious on this thunderstorm. And so we believe that it is a strong thunderstorm. Clearly it looks like one. And damaging winds are likely, as well as damaging hail, damaging lightning, and a rotation that could be a tornado attempting to develop. So near term here, Chester community, you're who we're watching within 12 minutes. And the track of this is such that it will take it within the next few minutes here and cross the Natchez Trace Parkway within the next 3 to 4 minutes if it continues, if it's truly still going at about that 50 to 55. We need to double check the speed on this, because I don't know that I believe these speeds National Weather Service kicking out on this. So let's double check the speed here. 30 minutes ago. Give me a second here to get this, try to get this right. Did we ever figure out what speed was realistic on this?
I'm double checking you right now.
Okay, when you get that, just, I know I'll be in mid-sentence, just like clap your hands, and we'll be okay. So we're watching a longer track on that will take that storm towards Starkville and eventually Sturgis. As you can see there, Starkville, we're now down to 40 minutes. We know we have a lot of kids at Mississippi State and parents that are probably watching TV when the kids aren't. Give them a phone call, give them another call, give them another call. And those structures there are pretty strong. They should hopefully be in pretty good shape. 52 miles per hour. Okay, so we're good at 50 miles per hour, so let's up that just a little bit more. Just give me just a moment here to get that right. So one thing we need to talk about, regardless of where you're at on these storms, some unsafe places. We don't need some junior storm chasers out there. We have storm spotters in the field. They are monitoring things. We need to be in a sturdy structure. We need to not be in a car in a mobile home. We need to not be in an open room. Large ones, you know, beams, stuff like that. We want to be in someplace small, confined. Upper floors where we want to avoid, in rooms with windows. Where do we want to be? We want to be on the lowest floor of a sturdy structure and go into the middle. We want to find a small windowless room, wrap up in blankets and pillows, put on a helmet if necessary to protect ourselves from flying debris, and stay there until we can give you the all clear. As far as this is concerned, the all clear can be given on this specific thunderstorm here for locations back into Montgomery County. There's another storm we're watching. You can see the difference in class and the size between the two of these. That's why they're most concerned with that one. The storm that's in extreme southern Lee County, but really it's far northeastern Chickasaw County, in an increasingly likely environment to produce a tornado. We've been watching this area all day long. We've mentioned a lot on Facebook Live and live stream behind the scenes. There's more moisture here. If this is going to produce a tornado, we're probably within the next 30 minutes of it happening. And so Okolona, we have to be in that tornado safe place. If you know somebody who's traveling along 45 alternate near the Okolona exit, you know when it opens up to the wide open area there, for folks that might not know exactly where the Okolona exit is, you're driving north on 45 and it kind of opens up and you have that wide sweeping curve. When you hit that wide sweeping curve there on 45 alternate, that's the area we need to stop, because it's just north of that. That this could potentially be at this moment, right on the Chickasaw-Monroe County line. This is our rotation right there. You can see County Line Road, Philgo Road there. That rotation, I can't confirm it to be a tornado at this moment. Looking at the wind mode, it's still strong, but this is diffuse enough that I cannot confirm this to be a tornado, thankfully, at this time. Looking at the debris mode, this is going to come up with stuff, unfortunately, because, let's get this right. See right there. Now, see right there, I'm going to put my fist right there. And you'll notice that that is just bright white right there. See those pixels right there? That's where it would be. All of this is dust and dirt and debris and maybe a few raindrops, but it's all a bunch of different stuff. So this is the area we're looking. So even though there's a lot of different colors here, no tornado debris detected on this. One person that's been monitoring this very closely is our meteorologist, Joel Young, who's continuing to follow this storm very closely. And as he's getting in position here, he's getting glimpses out his window. It's road network, sometimes hard to be in the right spot for one of these. And so let's get a track northeastward as we continue to follow this, that direction. As you can see, his video is kind of in and out there, unfortunately. And so a longer track on this rotation. And this, by the way, is exactly where some of our models were depicting this last night, unfortunately. Tracking toward Wren, Amory, Smithville. This is a strengthening storm. I forgot my times are going to be back below that. So Wren in 6 minutes, Amory there 14 minutes, Smithville in 21 minutes, Turon there in 26 minutes. This is rotation that at some point in the future could develop into a tornado. It's not one now, but it could at some point in the near future. Again, one thing we want to mention, you hear tornado sirens going off in Tupelo and Saltillo, Richmond community, here in Lee County. If you're north, really in Nettleton, you're good to go. No severe weather threat for you. It's just a policy that the E911 runs the sirens for the whole county. And so, fortunately, you're all good to go up in this zone here. And probably good to go as far as is concerned going forward. We'll watch some of this stuff back there a little bit later on. But nothing you see there is overly impressive at this moment, other than that rotating part near Okolona. As we come down here closer to, so let's get our bearings here for a moment. There's Ackerman behind the WTVA news, so we'll scoot that up just a little bit. This has been at points a confirmed tornado due to tornado debris being detected on Storm Track Doppler radar. Looking at the debris mode there, right there where we'd be looking, I don't really see a pronounced return. This is that open air. That's where it would be. Not happening at this moment, thankfully. Looking at the pixel-to-pixel wind change, that is also a little more diffuse than it was just a little bit ago. I'll watch right there. So give me a moment while we get that. Okay, that's the open area. Okay, so good. Our rotation, less impressive on this thunderstorm here than it was just a little bit ago. It has, and I want to get this right because I feel like it's going much more east. It is going almost straight east, or has. And today that would be a right turn going straight east, but it might lift a little more northward here soon. So as our times continue to tick down, for example, for Starkville, we're now down to less than a half hour for the kids there. In the near term, Chester in 6 minutes, Ackerman in 10 minutes, 18 minutes into the Sturgis area.
I'm seeing posts that you're not live on Facebook.
Facebook Live looks good right now. I show 1,400 viewers at the moment. So we are still live on Facebook there. Here's another shot from Chickasaw County from our meteorologist, Joel Young. His video is kind of in and out there. What I do see, and we have a better shot there, you could argue a couple places where we have lowerings, perhaps some rotation. Actually, Joel's video might be good enough now where he's getting to an open enough spot that we can see it. And we'd be looking kind of at the edge of that interaction there. That's where our rotation would be if it were happening on this. But at least at this point here, we're not hearing anything on that level from them. Spotter reports, pictures, anything like that coming in, John?
Right now, we got one
Okay. Well, John will get that up and ready, and we'll have that on the air for you here in a second. The reason I'm looking at our Tupelo tower cam, I want to see if I can hit the back side of this storm, looking southward, kind of looking through this. So our rotation, and we're going to have to mess with the contrast here, so just give me a minute to do this.
Are you looking at Tupelo map?
I'm looking at Tupelo. I'm trying to catch the south,
Hold on, I got a picture I'm going to retweet to your account.
hold on, I'm going to fiddle with this. So we'd be looking kind of, this is the back side of that storm there. So you can see a little bit of a lowering. I don't clearly have anything that, that is a tornado at this point on that, but this is the spot we'll have to watch. Austin, is it possible for you to pop tower cam into the MP5 so I can at least have an eye on that out of the corner of my eye? I appreciate that very much. So we'll keep watching that just in case, because that'll be a live view. And actually, this is the exact stuff that Joel was looking at just a moment ago there. You can see that lowering there, and you can see another area there. So let's see if we can bring this in a little closer. Is this about as far in as this will go? Oh no, that's locked up on us. Okay, hold on. There we are. Okay, give me a moment here. This has gone a little farther in than I wanted to. Let me know if something changes in Choctaw County. So this is that area that we are watching. Let's see if brightness, we can kick that up just a little bit there. So low contrast. It might be easier for you to actually catch at home than it is for me to see on the computer I'm looking at here. But this is that rotating part of the thunderstorm there. I don't have connection to the ground as we look south out of our Tupelo tower cam toward that storm. So we're looking good.
I tweeted a picture through your account. This would be Tupelo. La Quinta. Somebody sent us.
Okay, it's up on 3?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
La Quinta Inn.
Near the La Quinta Inn. Okay, 3 here. Okay, so is that the? Okay, certainly a suspicious-looking cloud. I can't say for sure what we're looking at there. There's going to be lots of low-hanging, stringy sort of stuff, so we'll have to be careful of that. I'm going to pop that Tupelo tower cam back up here for a moment. We're going to watch that area. I think that's the same thing that Joel is watching as well from his location in Chickasaw County. We're kind of looking at the backside of this thunderstorm. So we have good eyes on it at the moment here as we're kind of shooting down below. Just barely have the right angle on this. Our rotating part of the storm there now is, hold on. Okay, it is right there. So that's what it is. There's no precipitation on the backside of this. I hope it continues to stay a little, just a little out of sync here. But right there, that's what we're seeing right there on your television screen. So that is that rotating part of the thunderstorm there. The reason it's moving right to left because we're looking south there. So this is going to move left to right. That's going to move right to left. But we have a shot of this. Amazingly enough, typically there's too much precipitation to be able to see this, but you're looking live on WTVA, WLOV, and ABC WTVA, as well as MeTV and This TV at our rotating part of that thunderstorm there in Chickasaw County that is very near McAllister Road. It's going to cross 45. That's 45 alternate. It's going to cross 45 regular within the next few moments here. It's a lowering, but luckily it is not in contact with the ground. Our storm down south, by the way, in Choctaw County is going through what meteorologists refer to as a cycle, and there's a life cycle that they go through, and as it goes through a cycle, the way meteorologists refer to it, it has to regenerate. So we have a few minutes before that happens, so that's why we're going to take a little bit of extra time here on a tower cam shot. But luckily, you'll notice a flatter base there as of the last couple of moments here. I am curious, as Joel's shot looks to be locked up, unfortunately, so we'll go back to tower cam shot on that. But hopefully we'll be able to get that back here in a second. Wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. Still getting organized. There's one spot there south of that 45 sign near Wren where we do have some rotation. Let's double check to see if that matches up. Give it a moment here. That's pretty close as this is getting a little, see, this is showing more precipitation kind of coming around there. So that is our rotation that could potentially be trying to produce a tornado. I know we got a lot of stuff on the screen here. We're juggling a whole bunch of different things. Appreciate your patience. I'm going to keep Amory. I want to get a track into Amory just in case. And so Amory, we're looking at 9 minutes view of the Big B area within 7 minutes. We do expect it'll probably stay just a little bit north of Amory proper. but certainly we're going to have to watch this very closely. So let's clear that out. Let's reset things here for a moment and tell you where we stand. First off, we have 2 tornado warnings at this moment right now. Both are for Doppler radar indicated rotation. Earlier on, we had reports of debris potentially lofted out of a storm down in Montgomery County. That is not the case out of that thunderstorm now. We are getting reports of damage, though, back to 516, trees blown down across Highway 413 near the Stewart-Huntsville Road, possible tornado. So these reports come in, remember, 513, that's a very quick report. I mean, we're talking about 20 minutes ago, right? So that's why we have to have you in that safe place in advance. And where is that? That is the lowest floor of a sturdy structure. A reinforced structure is a sturdy structure. And that means we want to avoid mobile homes, avoid things that just aren't well built with a solid foundation. If you can find a reinforced storm shelter, that's where we need to be. And we want to be on that lowest floor, and we want to have blankets and pillows to cover ourselves in if necessary, and stay there until we can give you the all-clear helmet, a good idea to try to help us out as well. I popped this up here just so we can show this for a moment, because we do have this moving at a pace that will take that rotation through Bigby in 6 minutes, Flynn in 12 minutes, and Smithville in 15 minutes. This is a rotation that is attempting to intensify as we speak. Let's go here and remind you unsafe places, and we mentioned this a moment ago: cars and trucks, mobile homes, large open rooms, upper floors, and rooms with windows. We want to avoid all of those things. If your signal goes out, WTVA.com/live, where you can find us. We're live streaming there. Facebook Live is great, but Facebook Live can sometimes be delayed by a few minutes. The weather app and the news app, it's almost instantaneous. But Facebook Live gets a little behind, and that's just a Facebook deal, and there's nothing we can really do about that, unfortunately. Okay, so back to the precipitation mode here, and we're still showing that rotation in Chickasaw County. You saw that track a moment ago. We have to go south here to Choctaw County. A couple of areas, and you can see now a couple of storms that are indicating, kind of like that one up in Chickasaw County did earlier when it was in Calhoun County. You have 2 areas here that we're really kind of looking at. Let's look at the wind mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar. 2 areas of circulation. So I'm going to track the first one here. The shorter time applies to you: Ackerman, Sturgis, folks like that. Ackerman, we're now down to 3 minutes. Fulcher in 7 minutes. Sturgis in 12 minutes. And the Butte community there in 15 minutes. The storm that's farther back to the south and west is organizing as we speak. And so you'll see some of these other spots in this track as well. French Camp and Ware, 4 and 11 minutes for you. Fentress in 16 minutes. Ackerman, this is the second storm. This is not the first one. The first one, we only have a couple of minutes left. Sturgis, only about 10 minutes left. So for you, this is quicker. These times are for another storm upstream that we're continuing to watch. Okay, so I don't want that to give you a false sense of, hey, we have some time, because we don't necessarily agree with that. Okay, and I want to check this one back there toward French Camp. It's right there south of the T between Montgomery, Choctaw, and Attala counties. Let's look at that debris mode right there. There's a little bit showing up. Let's look at the precipitation mode right there. It's in advance. This has to line up with that. So what we were seeing there, that's just bugs and stuff, thankfully. So we cannot confirm tornado debris on this, even if the rotation is running a little ahead, which has been kind of the MO of these today. So a longer range track. And this is when the heavy rain is going to start for folks in Starkville, Artesia, Golden Triangle area back toward GTR Airport, and Columbus. You can see Butte community at 538, Addington there at 544, Starkville at 550, Patrick at 554, Artesia at 602, Tibby at 605, Columbus Lock and Dam at 614, and Columbus proper downtown there at 617. That's the heavy rainfall. The rotation lingers behind that, so add about 10 minutes to those times for when the rotation will try to move into some of those areas. Let's go ahead and let's go back up north. Let's see what we have in Chickasaw County. That is continuing to organize. Let's look at this. This is such a weird storm. This is what we call an LP supercell, low precipitation supercell, which means Joel's going to have a fantastic view of it when the time comes. And it looks like he's ran out of battery power on that camera again, unfortunately. And so the wind mode, we're looking right there. There's definitely an interaction. It is trying hard at the moment. This is the wind coming down out of it. It's yet to get the compromised wind on the other side to really get the rotation. But this is one of those storms. We talked about rotation tracks last night that this is monitoring very closely. This is one of those that has that potential, and it might not look like anything terribly impressive on radar, but the visual on it, when you look at it out of our Tupelo tower cam is substantially more impressive. So we're looking kind of at this zone here, right at kind of the back edge before it gets gray with all the rainfall there. It's right there is the area that we're looking. This is what we call the flanking line, the air being directed up into it, and that is the area where our tornado would be if it were to occur. We're looking south and east out of our Tupelo tower cam here. It's going to try to focus on it. It's a low contrast situation, so that makes it difficult for that to happen. I'm going to see if we can bring it in even farther. Okay, and let's see if it'll lock it in here. And we're all going to look at this together. So we're looking southeast out of our Tupelo tower cam. I have a little bit of rainfall in the middle here, so I can't quite see through that there. But definitely on that, looks like it's still pretty organized. But at this point, I cannot confirm anything more than a lowering on this. And unfortunately, we don't have a good enough angle at it to really confirm rotation. We're just a little too far away from this shot. We'll be able to see it. If it really gets going, gets down, we'll be able to see it. But, and this is an important caveat today, because this is what we call a low precipitation supercell, that's a jargon. What that means is it doesn't have the same heavy rainfall around the tornado that we typically get around here. What that means is near where the tornado would be, there's no guarantees that that rotation, you'd be able to see it all the way to the ground. So that's one of the challenges that Joel's going to have in the field, and we're currently obviously battling here behind the scenes as well. So we'll keep monitoring that. We don't want to stick on a tower cam shot that's not proven anything for too terribly long, but certainly tracking that toward the north and east. A National Weather Service down in Jackson has gone ahead and replaced what is going to be an expiring tornado warning at some point here with a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible tag. The idea is if this next one upstream ramps up, that it could again be an impact. But at least at this point they're not confident enough to issue a tornado warning on that. With more information coming in, our meteorologist John DeLusick is here, who's been monitoring social media and some of the stuff here behind the scenes.
10 minutes ago from Oklahoma video.
Are you unmuted?
No, it's
You're good,
10 minutes ago from Oklahoma area. This is a video from the lowering of the cloud.
That's wicked.
That is wicked. Yeah. So that's something in there could be lurking.
Okay, so this is
from
that area. This is that interaction. You have the winds coming back around like this, and then the inflow winds on that side. So this is what was a little real low resolution from our meteorologist Joel Young, but this actually coming in from who sent this in, John?
Adam Lofton.
Adam Lofton, near the Okolona area. So I don't see strong rotation. That's a good sign. Here's where we'd be looking. I don't see strong rotation on this. So that's good. You need to have stuff moving up quickly, stuff rotating around quickly. That's how it will look when you're dealing with an imminent tornado. Luckily, that is not the case. So that is not these storms. That is this storm up here that's approaching the Smithville area. This is a very odd-looking storm on radar, and odd is good usually. Let's look at wind here. There's a couple areas where there's a couple places, and I'm probably better off drawing this on radar over here. So give me a moment. There are a couple areas where the rain-cooled air is kind of coming back around here and trying to interact with just enough winds that are coming in. The balance is not right yet, and that's a good thing. When the balance is right, you get the tornado. These have to all work in coordination with one another, and they're just a little bit out of sync at this moment, thankfully. No guarantees it stays that way. New update. Let's look at the last couple of scans here. It's trying very hard. We have a pretty good look at this from the Monroe County radar site there, but Amory, at this point, if you have an Amory address and you live in the north side of town, we need to remain in that tornado safe place. If you live south of downtown Amory, we're good to go on this at this point. I'm going to check precip mode, just double check. This is how hard the rain is moving mode, yeah. So, but you can even kind of see it here. See those two areas where it kind of comes around there? Those are areas where the wind is trying to get balanced, and it's not. And actually, my bigger arrows are on the wrong side. It looks like it's the inflow side that's kind of winning this. The wraparound side on the back side is losing this, so that means we're all winners at this point, as it's continuing to be the possibly maybe sort of tornado as opposed to the we can confirm it. So I'm going to track a couple of things here. First and foremost, I'm going to track the heavy rainfall. If there is some hail out of this, this is the area we'd be watching it to occur. And there's your track with some times on your screen there as it continues to move north and east with a speed at about 50 miles per hour. Smithville 5:43, current time is 5:43, and that's the heavy rainfall part. The rotating part is back on the back side of this there. And so that's getting a little more organized. You can see also there Academy, Turon, and Bexar, if it is able to hold together. That's where we're looking at it, but it's this part right there along Old Highway 6, north of 25 there. That is on the other side, on the north side of Tennessee-Tom Bigby Waterway, at least at this moment. That's where that rotation is the strongest, and that's, thankfully, no conclusive evidence at this moment that we do have a tornado on this, thankfully. I'm going to check some information behind the scenes here. From our meteorologist, John DeLucic, you've been watching our Facebook Live as well as our meteorologist, Alan Matthew. I'm going to bring you in here for a moment. What sort of reports? Are we getting any reports, damage reports of any place outside Faulkner, which we'll try to get to those folks here in a minute?
We do have a steel bridge near Goat Island in northern Tishomingo County. County Road 298, some damage. Trees down? And trees down what? Power outages. So trees down, power outages. A steel bridge near Goat Island.
Steel bridge near Goat Island.
Yep.
So is that...
That would be
so a
Tishomingo
steel
County.
bridge was affected, or steel bridge is the area?
Oh, okay.
Okay, steel bridge near Goat Island.
No, Steel Bridge is a town, and then Goat Island is a town.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
That makes more sense. Okay.
Both of them, yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know where either of those are.
Like near Pickwick Lake.
Near Pickwick?
I would venture to guess, right?
That's kind of what I was guessing, but I'm not
Tishomingo,
getting it up on
Pickwick.
here.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
Goat Island is Pickwick.
We did get a report of a wall cloud near Pine Flat much earlier this afternoon, so I wonder if that was related with some of those wind gusts. So some damage in that area there.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Any other reports?
Do we have, Alan, any other reports? Not that we have getting right now. That's about it for now.
Okay. Good. That's a good sign. Hey, less reports.
That is right. Less reports, but good news.
Absolutely. Okay, that's our meteorologist, John DeLucic, helping a lot of folks behind the scenes here, helping to get us the information that we're trying to get to you. And so we appreciate your patience as we continue to try to figure this stuff out. So a tornado warning does continue for locations north and east of Ackerman and Choctaw County. This is a very well represented rotation on here. Storm track Doppler radar continuing to show the rotation not as impressive as it was just a little bit ago. Even when we look from Jackson, it's still definitely organized, but we don't have that same pixel to pixel change we had earlier. So hopefully it has weakened substantially, and you'll look just at the shape of it. And if we go back just a few scans, you see how it was more balanced. You have this side there smaller than the front side, right? That's when we believe, farther west it was more balanced, bigger, smaller, right? So if you bring it to where we are now, you'll notice still a little bigger, but more elongated and smaller. So it's going through a phase here where it's trying to reorganize. I don't believe we have a tornado on the ground out of this at this point, but it's at least on a pathway that's taking it towards Starkville. And Starkville proper, you are not under a tornado warning, but you are under a severe thunderstorm warning for this. We're now less than 20 minutes into Starkville. For all those parents and kids that we've been trying to update as this gets closer and closer, another phone call to them. Couldn't hurt. And make sure that they find, if you're relaying information because they don't have a signal for whatever reason, we can do that at WTVA weather app, but just make sure they find a sturdy structure, the middle of the lowest floor, find a windowless room. Typically it's going to be a hallway in the dorm or residence halls. Wrap up in blankets and pillows and put a helmet on to protect yourself from flying debris if that ends up becoming an issue, and stay put until all clear. There is no tornado warning for Oktibbeha County, but the National Weather Service on their severe thunderstorm warning did briefly have tornado possible. They've backed that down to 60-mile-per-hour winds is what they believe to be the main threat. The other storm that we are watching, and let's clear that off there, the other storm that we're watching right behind this near the Chester community does have a track that will take it closer to Ackerman, and that track would get it into Ackerman within about the next 10 minutes or so. There's going to be hail in advance of this. This shows 9 minutes into Ackerman. So that's the rotating part of this thunderstorm. But right there, see that stuff that flashed right there? That's some large hail. It could be inch and a half in size potentially. We have not had a lot of reports of hail today, so that's something we cannot verify. But we start getting black and the dark gray there, that's pretty high up on our scale. That's typically going to be at least measurable hail or extremely blinding rainfall. So that's going to be more in just the next couple of minutes that rolls into Chester and Ackerman. Obviously right now for for Chester, and within the next couple of moments here for Fentress. Ackerman at 552. This is the hail potential, which on the latest scan here looks like it's dropping some of that south of Chester and just north of Fentress. So we do have a spotter with the North Mississippi Storm Chasers and Spotters there in Choctaw County. We'll find out more information on that here in a minute. The mid-level rotation continues to spin up on this thunderstorm there in advance, but looking at the wind mode, still working to reorganize. That one back and back looks to be a little stronger. Okay, so let's reset things for a moment here. Let's go back north as we continue to track a couple of different storms that could potentially try to produce tornadoes. One thing we want to say briefly here before we go too far. Our meteorologist John DeLusick with a little information. Who we got on the phone there, John? Can you? We have Joel on the phone? Okay. Okay, you're muted, John. Okay, we'll go ahead and leave you unmuted and hopefully
we got
get
to
back there.
Facebook. Okay.
Okay, so we have his Facebook Live.
Yep,
he has a
Facebook
viewpoint
Live.
of this. I will grab the phone. Is he ready?
He's on the phone.
We're about to cross the waterway.
Hey, okay, you're about to cross the waterway? Is that what you said?
Cross the waterway right now.
Okay. Do you see the wall cloud? Do you see any connection?
We've seen the wall cloud. Once we get above the tree line, we should have a much better viewpoint of the bridge.
Okay, I'm gonna keep you on the phone with me. I'm gonna try using our tower cam. We've actually had, believe it or not, this is an LP. Am I wrong to say just visually looking at this looks like an LP?
That I would say is somewhat LP, but it's trying so hard. It's got several areas of rotation, and it's trying to fit one area of rotation.
Yeah, I believe that.
It keeps cycling.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We saw that too. It looked like it was, and we're starting to lose some daylight here, so that's messing with our camera. I don't know if we're gonna have it. I don't think we're gonna have a very good viewpoint of it from here on out on camera. So we're gonna probably stick with yours. But I do want to check one other thing here before we get off of this. But you don't have ground connection at this moment, do you?
I have not seen anything on the ground. It's been a very low wall cloud at times. It looked like it was stronger back in the eastern Chickasaw County, and it has tried to recycle itself. But it moved over 45 alternate, and Matt, I think you're agree. By the way, we're going to try to hit 25 and head up for Cisco, correct?
Yes, yeah. You'll follow behind it that way, and then 25 is going to veer out. You're going to get in some trees. But yeah, I'd go 25, try to catch it on 22, but unfortunately you'll be on the wrong side of it. You really don't have another choice, though. I mean, you just, like, to have any viewpoint of it.
Stay on this side of the same.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, we'll keep us up to date. If anything changes at any time, please let us know.
I'm going to stay on Facebook Live. Y'all just keep watching Facebook Live and keep watching the feed.
Okay.
Or one or the other. I'm going to be on one or the other the whole time.
Perfect. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. That's our meteorologist, Joel Young, who's along 25. I'll pull up his video as he is near the Tennessee Tom Bigby Waterway, continuing to watch what has been a lowered wall cloud from time to time. It has prompted tornado warnings when the tornado warning was in effect, and I need to double check to see if they have clipped it off. They have clipped Lee County out of that tornado warning when it was in effect for Lee as well as Chickasaw counties. This was that storm. As Joel mentioned, as we were seeing on radar a moment ago, there were a couple of areas of rotation along this that they were continuing to try to hone in on. Luckily, none of those has gotten to a point where it has produced, and Joel has a visual on it, thankfully, and hopefully that's the way it stays, that it is not producing a tornado at this moment. Near Smithville is where it would be at this time, which is pretty much right on 25, between 25 and 23. Actually, tell him to take 23. Yeah, tell him to take 23, if he can. 23, because 23 goes up through Turon, and he'll be able to flow behind it there. Yeah, 23. Have him do that. Thank you. Not planning on issuing a tornado warning for Marion as the storm has become more disorganized. Agree. Part of that is just the location sometimes on the radar here, but the National Weather Service in Birmingham will not be issuing a tornado warning, at least based on current trends on this downstream. Near Turon there, we're going to look right there is where we should be seeing our interaction. Let's go to the wind mode. It's trying really hard. This is all the wind that's kind of coming this direction toward. You can see on there where it says toward the radar. It's coming toward the radar, which is just down off your screen there. Coming toward, that's the inflow. It's trying really hard there. Turon, we need to be in a tornado-safe place, regardless of what this looks like on Doppler radar. that is trying to get more organized. We've had numerous wall clouds on this. Luckily, at this instant, it's not a tornado on the ground. That's not to say it doesn't become one at some point. So let's get, let's look at a few spots. As we mentioned, that rotation there, which is getting more organized, only 2 miles from Turon. I'd say about 1 mile at this moment, so we need to be at that tornado safe place. And we'll be crossing within about the next 2 or 3 minutes. Highway 23, Mississippi Highway 23, and it's about 9 minutes away. Actually, being 10 miles at 50 miles an hour, it's about more like a 13 minutes or so away from the Alabama state line as it tracks just south of I-22 in Itawamba County. Rotation that we're continuing to monitor on this, and honestly is looking more organized than it has the last little bit. We're also at a better angle where the radar can really sample it a little better. So that's an area we've got to be very, very careful of, north and east of Smithville. We always talk about all clears. Let's give some all clears here for a moment. If you live in Amory, you can come out of that tornado safe place. If you live in Flynn, you can come out of that tornado safe place. If you live in Smithville, I know we have some Smithville addresses on the northeast side of town. We need to stay there. If you live south, and if you live along Highway 25, and you're right along Highway 25, you can come out of that tornado safe place there. And obviously we have Parham in this, but you can come out of that tornado safe place there as well. Carolina Community, Cardsville, back on the far western. Well, we have some Cardsville addresses that might get involved here. So I'm hesitant to do that. I want to see Joel's video for a second, which of course is locking up a little bit on us as soon as we pop it up. There's not a lot of cell phone signal there to work off of. Can you hit refresh on that? Just hit F5. We'll see if that comes back a little better. Right there, wind mode. I don't like trusting individual pixels this close to the radar site because sometimes, believe it or not, you would expect to see a bigger rotation than 2 pixels there. Let's probe this just a little bit. Okay, that's not tornado debris. You can see north and south. There's something going on there, but right there where it needed to be, that is not. So I just wanted to verify that. Though we have a new scan coming in right now. It is trying really hard to, I mean, you can see this is finally getting a little more organized, trying to wrap up a little more. Joel's video, as he is going through there, still getting into position. Okay, so he'd be looking just off screen there, so it's, unfortunately the camera is pointed down the road, and you'd be looking just off screen that direction there to get a better angle on it, actually right there, to get the best angle on it. So he should be able to see through, even though it's a little blurry for us, he should be able to see through some of the trees there. Actually, we can see 2. So this is that rotating part. This is that long finger that's sticking south. Of course, we go a little blurry at this moment. And that right there is that rotating part that we're watching. Do you have Joel's audio? I hear Joel's audio in the background. Alan, would you?
He's not on the phone, but I can call him.
No, that's fine. I think we're okay at the moment. He'll call if he has something more.
Okay.
And so let's give that back to him. So that's that finger coming right around there, trying to rotate, trying to strengthen a little bit more as it continues to work its way along Highway 23 now in Itawamba County. And for that matter, I mean, if you live for sure know your address is in Monroe County, which you probably know where you live, but for sure in Monroe County, we can come out of that tornado safe place now. This is just across the Monroe County line in southern Itawamba County. By the way, Austin, we're 2 minutes from the top of the 6 o'clock news. We will run the 6 o'clock open if we can, and then continue our live coverage as necessary. But I just wanted to touch base with you on that. Run the open. We'll come back here. We'll reset. There are other thunderstorms that we are continuing to watch. Obviously, that one is the most likely at this point to try to produce a tornado. We do have one other tornado warning in effect. That warning is lingering from this rotation that is continuing to weaken as it moves towards Starkville. It's easy to pick out here. What's the dominant storm? It was this. Now it's the one that's approaching Ackerman there, and that's big hail in Ackerman. Have we heard anything from the storm chasers as to whether or not this has produced any real hail, anything along those lines? John, have we heard anything from their chat?
Back near French camp. I'd have to go back.
He'll report near French camp? Okay.
I'd have to go back and dig for that.
Okay. Good deal. So let's get a track here. Oh, no, bad deal. We don't want it, but at least thank you for the information. We never want to hear the reports. It does help us to warn ahead when we do have the information. So watching this rotation, which is less impressive than the other storm was just a little bit ago. Ackerman pretty much now Tuscan there in about 1 minute, Sturgis 9 minutes, Butte there in 12 minutes, 17 minutes into Craig Springs. The hail is just in front of that and remains one of our concerns as it continues to track eastward. And I'm going to include Starkville in this track as well. We're looking at, obviously, Sturgis now, Butte Community in 3 minutes, Craig Springs there at 8 minutes and 17 minutes into Starkville proper. There is rotation on this. Looking at the wind mode, that rotation is still pretty impressive. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Hold on. Let's clear that off. Let's look at the debris mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar. Okay, now hold on. But it's ahead of where the precipitation should be. It's in this open area. So everything is just, there's rotation, but if it were actually debris that we were picking up there, it would have to be back in that blob, and it's not. It's just ahead of that. So that's a good sign there. Okay. So luckily there's a lot of maybes. That has not been the case throughout the entire day, and we're going to, here in a few minutes, get you some more information on where we have had some damage coming up here in just a moment. Current time is just before 6 p.m. I'm meteorologist Matt Lawpon alongside of meteorologist John DeLusick and our Alan Matthew. WTVA 9 News at 6 begins in just a couple of moments here.